Welcome to Books, Kids, and Creations, a part of the Authors on the Air Global Radio Network. I'm your host, Tracy Bloom, and I feature people who inspire and uplift future generations with their work. Today, I have an author-illustrator duo here, Britt Gondolfi and Amanda Romanick. Yay! Thank you for being here, guys.
We're so excited. You're our very first podcast interview. This is our first book, first podcast, first big published piece for both of us.
Yes. So let's see here. So are you guys, did you already, I'm assuming, know each other? Are you longtime friends, or how did you guys sync up?
You take it.
Yeah.
I'm making you.
We were living in Atlanta. We hadn't met each other yet, and I was at my little part-time job when my boyfriend at the time, his friend brought his girlfriend in, who was Britt, and said, "Hey, my girlfriend's from the North Shore of Louisiana. Do you guys know each other?"
We did.
No, but okay. And they were like, "You guys should be friends," and we became very good friends.
Yeah.
So
And
we
then,
were pregnant with our little babies who are now 7, and we were living in Atlanta, and we came up with the book, I think, about when they were a year and some change.
Yeah, I think they had just started walking around, maybe crawling.
Yeah, they were walking, crawling.
oh, and now they're little mini grown-ups.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, now they're little minions. And I mean that with all the love I have in my heart for my child. Now they're doing their own thing.
So talk about the inspiration for this book. I mean, it's so timely. Look up, everybody has these. I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about Michelle Obama's book and how she called cell phones these rectangular shields that everyone has up. And I think your book is so timely. I mean, for now, and I'm sure it'll just continue to get progressively worse as social media is everywhere, and there's like a new app, I swear, like every minute there's like a new payment app, a new social media app, a new something or another to keep our attention consumed on the phones. So yeah.
Ironically, you say it's timely, but we wrote this poem or came up with this concept together like 6 years ago, and had been debating if we were self-published, try to find a literary agent, but the whole idea came to us on a walk, and we both have separate memories of the origin story. Dollars were like, no, it was this way. But the way I remember it is that Amanda and I were taking a walk with our kids, and we were talking about how, as new moms, we didn't anticipate that our cell phone would be such a huge part of our lives. Like, we both grew up in a time before smartphones, so we're new moms, we're breastfeeding, we're holding our baby, and I'm doom scrolling, and taking a walk and talking about the ironies of breastfeeding and doom scrolling, and just I felt guilty and horrible. And I remember it this way, that Amanda said, "Don't you just wish a bird would just poop on your phone?" And I was like, "That's brilliant." And we were passing this park where there were all these pigeons on this power line, and I was like, what if all the birds hate us? Like, what if they're like mad at us because we're constantly looking down? We don't even look at them anymore. And what if nature is like judging us, like that, that person in the restaurant that sees the family all on the screens, and they're like, "Oh, I would never," but then they do when they have their own kids. It's like, what if the birds feel this way?
Yes, well, and my memory is of that as well. But the part that I think Britt missed, probably because she was on her phone, is that I feel like it was either the day before or even just a few hours before, we had been sitting in my living room talking about Fontaine the pigeon, who was going to have this revolution. And we were just like, what is Fontaine's revolution going to be? We hadn't really nailed what it was, but we thought he just sounded like the best character.
Yes.
And we're walking around outside, and she's, on the phone. And I was like, "Oh, I know what Fontaine's revolution is." And she didn't hear me because she was doom scrolling.
She's like,
And then that's when she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Don't you wish a bird would poop on your phone?" And that's the memory I have. But I think it's because Yeah.
I could have been completely distracted. That's, that was the inspiration for the book, was my own distraction. But either way, my memory is that the character came after the concept. Amanda's memory is the character came first and then came the concept. But the way the book was written on the Notes app on my phone within 30 minutes of that stroller conversation. And it became a song, and then it just basically sat there and then in our hopes and imaginations for a while. And now it's coming out.
So what made you guys say, let's do this? Let's finally pull the trigger on this concept we've been sitting on.
Well, we moved forward with it several times. I started illustrating it for like so many times, like at least 2 or 3 times. But it was really just that we didn't know how we would get it published. It's very hard to be a single parent, and it takes up a lot of your time, and that was more important than doing anything else. Trying to find just a regular job and have a paycheck was more important than having a project on the side that, even though we believed in it quite a bit, it was just, we had immediate needs.
Yeah.
Also, the last time we started working on it before this, COVID happened, and I was like, we cannot put a book out about being on your phones. It's so toned out. It wasn't the right time. And then it was like Britt serendipitously met our agent.
Someone was talking about our book, like a friend of mine was talking about the book at a party or something, and the woman they were talking to was like, oh, my son's a literary agent. And so we got our agent's cell phone number through a friend, and I reached out to him and told him we were going to self-publish, and we met for like a consulting meeting, and then he loved the idea and decided to take us on as artists.
Yeah, I remember the phone call. Britt was like, his last name is Bert.
Yeah, I was freaking out. His last name is Bird. I'm like, it's just
I love the book, and you just got it in the mail yesterday. Is that your first copy?
This is our first copy.
You just you gotta put it somewhere sacred.
It's on like its own little altar on an easel.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like,
take it to the park, show the bird.
So yeah, I mean, it took forever in my mind, but honestly, the timing was right. And I remember feeling really mad at Amanda when COVID happened, because I was like, this is the perfect time. And she's like, can't go and tell people to get off their phones right now.
It's all they have. It's all they have right now. Yeah.
So that was fair.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, I think everything happens in good timing. I'm one of those people, who believe that it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen, and it's going to come out April 30th.
Yes. And the artwork, Amanda, is incredible. I looked at your digital copy of the book, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Did you, yeah, it's so stunning, and there's just so much life and warmth and feeling in there. Like, I love it so much. And I'm so curious about your background. Like, did you go to school to be an artist, or what's your training like?
When I was very young, I liked to draw, and the amount of detail I put into my work kind of caught the attention of people. It started when I was like in preschool. But when I was in kindergarten, here in where we live, we have a St. Tammany Parish has a talented art program. And my kindergarten teacher was just like, we have to try and get this kid in this program. And they didn't take kids my age. You had to be much older to be in the program. But they went ahead and evaluated me and let me join the program with the older kids. So I started just learning about it, and really, I can't remember ever being instructed very much. It was more like, here, take these materials and this paper and let's see what you do. And it just kind of started there. So I've had experience with a lot of different mediums. I've used like all kinds of things over the years since I was 5. And then when I was in high school, that was a little kitty cat. When I was in high school, I won a few awards for some paintings that I'd done. I used to do photorealism, oil paintings. And it just made sense for me to go to art school. I originally actually went to go to school for psychology, and in the program, although I found it very interesting, it felt kind of sad. At the time, there wasn't a lot of people weren't very positive about being able to coach people to change their behavior in a positive way. We know more now, and it's much more positive now, but it kind of bummed me out, to be honest. So I ended up going to art school after doing a few years at a different university, pursuing a psychology degree. So I went to the Savannah College of Art and Design in Savannah, Georgia, and then I moved to Atlanta, and I did sequential art and illustration. So sequential art is kind of like the comic books. I was drawn to it because I love the storytelling aspect. You can put a lot of little Easter eggs into sequential art. And I graduated with a visual storytelling degree.
Amazing. Well, it shows. I mean, it definitely is like, it does have, I was thinking like there is a comic book feel to it, but just bigger and softer, and it feels like paintings. Like every page feels like a painting, like you could just, like frame it and
I was always more of a painter. I can draw, but I was always more of a painter. So I actually painted all of it and then added the line work on top.
You know what I love about the art is that I think in the children's book era right now, everything has become so akin to like a CGI.
yeah.
Like our capacity to create art digitally has grown to such a insane level that the traditional watercolor, paper, pen, analog style, like you don't really see it in children's literature anymore. Or at least not as much as I wish we did.
Right.
But when you look at this book, I mean, it looks like a painting,
Yeah.
you know, and it has a much more natural feel than a lot of the computer generated art that's out there right now. And it's soft on the eyes, and it's comic booky, and
Yeah.
there's so many Easter eggs. Amanda made cameos for like everyone she knows.
Isn't that fun?
Yes, like it's
Find yourself in this book.
Yes.
So what are your goals for the book? Do you have big plans for it? You have maybe some author visits coming up?
I've got big prayers, man.
Yes.
My goals to the top of the New York Times bestseller list. We have a signing with our friends and family and community supporters in Hammond, which is about an hour north of New Orleans, on May 4th. We have a bookstore in the French Quarter off of Frenchman Street that's having us during the evenings of Jazz Fest kind of come and busk the corner and do.
So fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be Frenchman Street's a huge Jazz Fest after party, and one of the earlier fans of the book owns a bookstore right there, and so we'll kind of go celebrate and, you know, yell at people to look up if they're walking and looking down at their phones and try to convince them to buy our children's book.
Like every book comes with a little bag of birdseed, so you're gonna toss that.
That could be cute.
Yeah.
Like celebrate birdseed.
That would be amazing. That's a great idea.
Yeah. We might need to steal that.
Actually, we're gonna steal that idea.
You should. It'll be like confetti.
But we just really want, my prayer is that millions of people will be inspired to get off of their technology, or at least establish a conversation between parents and children, or caretakers and children, that what we are witnessing now, it's not normal. We've normalized it, but constantly being distracted and existing in a digital ecosystem to the point that we are not saying hello to each other in the grocery line, to the point where we're not even like casually smiling at
Right.
class. You know, we're really isolated, more than we've ever been. And the technology is so powerful, you know, we could use it to connect all of us and solve all the world's problems, but unfortunately, we're just not there yet. Okay, we're not we're not using this technology for its highest good yet. And
Yeah.
so I just wanted to explain to my kid through this story that there was a time that existed before this. And that this is new, because a lot of kids born now, they don't know life. You can't have a Zoom podcast without a cat. You know, they don't know life without these screens.
Yeah.
And you know that my child has told me, if I'm distracted, you know, I can see that she's hurt. If
Yes.
I'm not being as present as I can with her.
Yeah.
I see how much it takes for me to say, hey, will you give me your screen? Let's unplug. And I see her have a really negative reaction.
Mm.
I mean, we're trying to be mindful, and it's still a war. It's a war in this house over screen use. I'm addicted to my phone. My kid's addicted to her iPad. We're working on it.
Yeah.
But it's funny that this book is coming out because my grandmother read it and she's like, you wrote this about you, huh? Now every book comes out.
I love that it doesn't shame anyone. It really is just saying, it's just a reminder that from time to time we need to put it down and be present.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, my hope for the book is that it just reminds people to take moments and take time during their day and be alive instead of be distracted, and enjoy your time and smile and maybe play a little bit and dance. I mean, we have children. One of the gifts of having children is to be a child again. And I think we're so distracted that we're not taking advantage of that at all.
Yeah. And that's part of I guess one of the things that I love about being a children's author as well is, and I'm not a parent, but I love the opportunity to be in the presence of kids because they have such joy. Like, it's like when you're there and you're present with a group of kids and you're talking about whether it's your book or creating or birds or anything involving something exciting, it's like everyone's present, everyone has such joy. And if that joy is looking at, you know, this, it's like, well, you know, it kind of feels like it's a little wasted.
Like artificial joy.
Yeah, yeah. So what are Fontaine's plans for future books? Is he going to invent something in the next one, or what's he doing? Can you talk about it?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah, Fontaine, after, you know, he's figured out the world of community organizing and banded all these birds together to get people to get off their technology, I think he's going to shift his focus to school. And Fontaine is going to be fighting for recess. And it sounds weird to say fighting for recess, but I've noticed as a former teacher and as a mom that our children are not getting the playtime that they need. You know, our kids are going to school like a work week, like 40 hours a week. And because of the influence of standardized testing, you know, which is important to have data, not coming for them, but you know, children need to be children. And I've worked at schools where kids are allowed to be children, and I've worked at schools where children are not allowed to be children. So I want Fontaine to encourage people to get outside and to emphasize the importance of play and how it's connected to education and learning.
I
So
love
the next book will be about play and recess. And I don't know what the birds are going to do to help the children get some more playtime. We focused on screen time. Now we're going to focus on playtime, but they're really clever creatures. They know how to work together. So I think the birds will come up with something pretty brilliant for the kids.
Yeah, and we might see some of the other birds have a bigger role in the next book.
Absolutely, because it's not just about Fontaine. That's a really important message about the book, is that we all want to make a difference.
Yeah.
And sometimes we imagine making that difference by ourselves. Like, what can we individually do? And, you know, one of the big character arches our hero, you know, has is when he realizes that he won't get anything done by himself and that he does need other people. So there's a ton of beautiful characters that Amanda brilliantly designed and created that are going to have an opportunity to shine in future stories.
Well, guys, I am so excited about your success and continued success and everything that you're doing. So important message, beautiful book, both of you. Congratulations. And If readers would like to pick up your book, where's the best place for them to find it?
You can find it anywhere, but we, since we're best friends and we're artists that know each other and did this product together, we are selling our own copies. So you can buy from Target or Walmart or Amazon or Barnes and Noble, or you can go to fontainethepigeon.com and purchase from us, which we always recommend that you do. And it'll come out on April 30th.
April 30th. Amazing. Well, thank you both for being here, and all the best for your amazing book.